Hey everybody, how y'all doing? This is Carla Widenix with today's inspiration, and as always, I'm happy to be here to encourage you and to remind you that you can live every day on purpose. I am so grateful for the favor that God bestows upon us, His children. And of course, when I receive that favor, I am just ecstatic. And I'm just really happy. He blessed us greatly this past weekend with the Women's Empowerment Conference that I was fortunate and blessed to organize. And I just thank God for how He was displayed through us, how His glory shone through us. And it was wonderful. One of the topics was actually presented by my own daughter, Tiffany. Now, Tiffany, y'all know my Tiffany. Tiffany is a wonderful young lady, and a lot of times she doesn't see herself as I see her. She's unsure in many ways, not most of the time, but in many ways she is. And I asked her to do one of the sessions because I knew that she could do it. I knew that it was in her. And her session was for the young adults and even teens. However, only one showed up, and that was her sister, Anea. So what I had her to do was to present her topic to the adults, and she did a great job. She really just did an outline of it, but she did great. And one of the things that she was going to discuss with them, and she shared with us, was the importance of knowing who you are and how to learn how to establish your own identity outside of your parents. Now, that's a mouthful, isn't it? But it basically means being your own person. And I really support her in that. And what she wanted to point out was that, yes, learn from your parents. They teach us. They're the ones who introduced us to Christ and to our foundation, our spiritual foundation, and all of the teachings of Christ. But God doesn't have grandchildren. We have to know for ourselves. And she encouraged and is encouraging them to know for themselves, to study for themselves, and to identify who they are outside of your parents. As a parent, of course, I want my children to take everything I say as gospel, which it is the truth. And I know what I'm talking about, and I really know I know what's best for them. Okay, I'm a mama. That's how I feel. But they have to discover that for themselves. They really do. They have to learn. And it hurt when I find that they may have a difference of opinion or they think differently. But I understand because they have to know for themselves and they have to be who they are. I cannot lead them and guide them. I mean, I could teach them and tell them, but they have to decide. They have to see for themselves, and they have to embrace for themselves or not. Even with church. My husband is a minister. He's a preacher, and hopefully he will be pastor soon. He's up for pastorate at our church, and of course, yes, I do want him to be voted in. But whether he is or not, my adult children, they know that they do not have to worship where we worship. If they feel led to go somewhere else, because every church, although they may be teaching basically the same thing, but every church is not for everybody. And I'm okay with that as long as it is the foundation is Christ. But even if they decide to go outside of that, that's something that they have to do on their own. It's something that they need to be where they're comfortable. And it may not be mom and daddy's church, and I have to be okay with that. So, we have to know who we are. And even, some of us old adults, sometimes we do things just because it's tradition or because mom and them did it and grandmom and them, and this is what the family does. But what about you? What do you want? Who are you? You have to discover and know who you are and embrace who you are. Because after all, it's between you and God alone. It's between the relationship is yours. I can't do that for them. They have to know for themselves. So I encourage as well as Tiffany does is to have your own identity outside of your parents, outside of your siblings. I say even outside of your spouse. I did a session on. I did two sessions actually. One on for women who are waiting, single women, and one for women who are married. And what I stressed in both of those is that even in marriage, the wife, you should know who you are. I shared with them that at one time my identity was wrapped up in my husband's, and you can't do that. You will soon fizzle out. I love my marriage. I love my husband. I love who I am in the marriage, but there was a time when I didn't know who I was other than mama and wife. I had to know who Carla was. What did I believe? What did I stand on? What were my gifts and talents? Who was I? You have to know who you are, because my husband can't die for me, not for my soul. My children can't do it. Jesus Christ did it, but I had to stand out on my own and be my own person. You can be your own person within a relationship. And that's what I encourage you all to do. Don't be a cookie cutter person. Don't be a cookie cutter Christian. Don't be a cookie cutter mother, a cookie cutter daughter, or whatever. Be who you are. Be who you are. God bless you. This is Carla Nix with today's inspiration.